Coming under pressure from major German companies who want no more sanctions imposed against Russia over the Ukrainian crisis. It'll make it hard for Berlin to push for stricter penalties, and that's likely to be the message from Merkel when she meets Barack Obama on Friday evening. The two are booked in for a 4-hour dinner date at the White House. RT's Peter Oliver reports on some of the sticking points expected to be found on Friday's dinner menu.
It's set to be a meeting between two of the world's most powerful leaders. But there are more than rumblings that the balance of power in the relationship is very one-sided.
It's based on dependency. First, the US denied spying on Merkel's cell phone, then admitted it. Now it just continues because Obama says we reserve the right to collect information. I just see Angela Merkel going to the US to pick up new instructions.
The Chancellor has come in for rebuke at home for not pushing to allow Edward Snowden to give testimony at an investigation into NSA activity in person. Her critics saying that she's looking to protect the image of her US partners. Mrs. Merkel's visit won't just be watched closely in Germany. Many in Europe are angry that no leader really stood up to the actions of the US in the aftermath of Snowden's revelations.
I think the single most proof of the cowardice of governments and their unwillingness to actually tackle this in a meaningful way, despite what they would say publicly, was when the European countries closed their airspace and forced the president of plane of Evo Morales to land in Austria on a hunch or a suspicion that Edward Snowden was on board.
Trade is set to play a major role in the talks. Negotiations are still ongoing over the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, or TTIP, which could see an easing of current tight restrictions. On the surface, this could see both the EU and US profit, but at what cost to EU consumers?
Genetically modified food, hormone-treated beef and chlorine-washed chicken could end up on our plates.
In Germany, 96% of people think that EU standards on environmental protection are better than the US. On car safety, the figures show 91% in favour of the EU. And on data protection, 85% didn't think US standards were up to the job. More transparency is needed in TTIP talks, say those standing against Mrs. Merkel's party in upcoming EU elections.
The whole negotiations are taking place behind closed doors, amongst a small number of people. We must be vigilant. When this type of deal is done with third world nations, there are often attempts to undermine the legal system of that land. We will not accept this.
The ongoing situation in Ukraine looks a certainty to be discussed, but while both the US and EU have backed sanctions, they've taken different forms, representing Europe's closer economic and energy bond to Russia. While Germany and the United States remain the firmest of friends on the international stage, when Angela Merkel sits down for talks with Barack Obama, it looks likely that there will be some issues they certainly don't see eye to eye on. Peter Oliver, RT, Berlin.
We asked Michael Hudson, an economics professor at the University of Missouri, if he thinks Berlin's position on the sanctions could change.
The Germans are very clear that they are not going to pursue sanctions that hurt German industry. That would be the straw that broke the camel's back, and there's some discussion in Germany about, do we want to really remain part of NATO? If we don't have a voice in it, do we really want to sacrifice German industry so that American industry can move in and take over the markets that the German industry has? This is an American market-grabbing opportunity from Germany, and you can be sure that within Merkel's own Christian Democratic Party, there's a big argument over whether Germany should make the sacrifice of its industry for American industry just because America says so.